Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Parker Davis.
And I'm Charlie Ehlenfeld. Welcome to Newswatch.
We're finally feeling those fall temperatures, and it's very exciting.
Lead forecaster Isabel Isco joins us with the latest on this week's forecast.
You know, it really is starting to feel like fall, and if anything, it's starting to feel like winter out there. We saw temperatures today in those mid-50s. You really got to bundle up if you did head outside, and that is going to continue. Really have to put those t-shirts away. It is looking like for these next few weeks, and even as we head into the rest of the year, that we're finally going to stay out of those 70-degree temperatures and 80s. It is going to be continuing to feel like fall here in Southeast Ohio. We had this high pressure kind of moving its way in before we had that cold front that moved its way out. That gave us that push of that warm air as we headed into the weekend, but now it is really just going to be feeling like fall. We saw not very much rain here. If you were north of I-70, you had a little bit of those sprinkles out there, but other than that, in our area, we are clearing out, and we're going to be seeing those temperatures in about those 50s with some wind out there. We're seeing gusts in those 20-mile-per-hour range, and that is going to be giving us that freeze watch as we head into tonight with that overnight low of 37. We are seeing that freeze watch all throughout the southern half of Ohio. So if you do have to go outside tonight, really make sure that you're bundling up and taking those indoor plants inside. And we're going to be seeing a lot of the same for these next 3 days, but it will be changing as we head into next week. I'll be talking about that in my full forecast. Let's take it back over to Parker.
Thank you, Isabel. The former principal at Federal Hocking High School is asking a judge to order the school district to give him his job back. This is the second time Jake Amlin has filed a legal action challenging the school board's decision to not renew his contract. Amlin argues that under the terms of his contract, the school board was required to conduct certain performance evaluations. If those evaluations weren't completed, state law requires the contract to automatically be extended. Amlin claims those evaluations were not conducted, so his contract should have been extended for at least 1 year.
The Ohio House overwhelmingly passed a bill strictly regulating THC products. In the latest version of Senate Bill 56, retailers will have to get a license to sell intoxicating hemp products. The bill also dictates how strong THC products can be and would direct millions of dollars in tax revenue to Host Community Cannabis Fund. Money would go from the fund to the cities and towns with dispensaries. The Senate still has to review the House's changes.
State officials only have 10 days left to pass a bipartisan congressional map. The Ohio Redistricting Commission met for the first time yesterday. DeWine says he wants to see more redistricting reforms. This comes as Republicans in Congress are looking to add more seats. If the commission misses its deadline, it's October 31st, and lawmakers take over once again and go back to the drawing board. They should then face a final deadline of November 30th to create a map.
The government shutdown stretches into its third week as Congress continues to be deadlocked. The federal government has been shut down for 22 days, and many government employees have been furloughed or made to work without pay. Leaders on both sides of the aisle say they hope to have a solution soon.
On the phone yesterday about all this, and I was with the president in the White House the night before for a couple of hours. What we're talking about is that obviously the calendar is being eaten up by all this political nonsense by the Democrats.
Yeah, there's been ongoing discussions with our hardworking staff. These are great patriotic Americans who are all in on public service, all in on serving the people that members of Congress are privileged to represent across the country. And we'll continue to provide them with a lot of information. The hope is that we get this shutdown resolved before the end of the month.
This shutdown is now the second longest in U.S. history, only beaten by the December 2018 shutdown under the first Trump administration.
Vice President J.D. Vance met with the Israeli Prime Minister during Vance's trip to the country. Vance's trip is part of the Trump administration's attempt to shore up the U.S. brokered ceasefire deal in Gaza. The trip follows a string of other high-profile administration officials visiting the country. Vance spoke about his optimism for the region with hopes to continue the relationship between Israel and the U.S.
We're going to keep working at it. I didn't know what to expect, honestly. I know the president was here a week ago to welcome the hostages home and actually sign the deal. A week into it, there's a lot of work to do, but I feel very optimistic about where we are. So thank you for the partnership. Thanks for your willingness to continue to work on this, and I think we're going to do great things here.
Vance's visit to Israel comes a little over after 1 week after President Trump visited the country to sign a peace deal. The peace deal continues to hold as both sides point to the other about violations of the deal. President Trump could be seeking $230 million from the Department of Justice from prior investigations into his actions. Julia Benbrook reports on the situation.
Of the specifics here, he also said that he, quote, could be seeking $230 million from his own Justice Department as compensation for previous investigations into him. This potential and unprecedented arrangement was first reported by the New York Times. The report suggested that Trump was seeking the money in connection with complaints that he had filed before returning to office. While speaking with reporters in the Oval Office on Tuesday, Trump was pressed for more information.
Because the New York Times is reporting that your legal team is seeking $230 million from your own Justice Department now in response to the investigations into you.
It could be.
Is that something you want your legal team to do?
I don't know what the numbers are. I don't even talk to them about it. All I know is that they would owe me a lot of money, but I'm not looking for money. I'd give it to charity or something. I would give it to charity.
Now, Trump did acknowledge the unprecedented nature of the situation, where he would essentially be paying himself. As you heard there, he did say that he would give the money away to charity. He also mentioned possibly using it for the ongoing White House renovations. Though many details remain unclear, it's important to note that any settlement might be approved by Justice Department officials who defended Trump or those close to him during the investigations at the center of this. And a settlement to Trump would come from taxpayer funds. At the White House, I'm Julia Benbrook.
The American Civil Liberties Union sent a letter to the acting ICE director and other officials urging the release of pregnant detainees. Those detainees would also include women who are postpartum or nursing. A 2021 ICE policy claims these women should not be detained, arrested, or taken into custody for violation of immigration laws. However, this policy doesn't apply for exceptional circumstances. The ACLU warns that women are experiencing delayed and substandard prenatal care and medical neglect after miscarriage. Legal disputes continue unfolding in President Donald Trump's push to deploy U.S. troops to Democratic-led cities. Meanwhile, immigration rates across the country are triggering protests. Ivan Rodriguez has the latest on the public's response.
Immigration raids flaring up across the country this week. A chaotic scene in New York Tuesday. Bystanders stepped in as ICE agents began arresting street vendors illegally operating along Canal Street in downtown Manhattan. In Los Angeles, a federal marshal and an undocumented immigrant were injured after an immigration and customs enforcement agent's weapon discharged during an operation, according to officials. Investigators believe gunfire erupted after an ICE officer confronted a man in a vehicle and smashed a window with their service weapon, a law enforcement source said. Authorities believe the agent's weapon discharged while they were attempting to grab the suspect, striking both the suspect and a deputy U.S. Marshal. Both are expected to recover, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Meanwhile, across the country, a number of hearings are taking place related to the deployment of National Guard troops.
You would think that would be common sense.
President Donald Trump says he feels empowered to send National Guard troops into any city he sees fit after a ruling by an appeals court allowed his troop deployment in Portland, Oregon.
We have the right to use the National Guard to put out trouble.
His administration is urging the U.S. Supreme Court to allow a similar deployment in Chicago. The justices are reviewing whether lower federal courts were correct to block Trump from deploying hundreds of National Guard members to an ICE facility in the city's suburbs. In Atlanta, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
Rules on NIL deals for high school athletes in Ohio.
And it's just starting to feel like fall, but the holidays are closer than you think. This year, experts predict holiday spending will skyrocket.
And with the holiday season coming in, we're going to see those cooler temperatures next on Newswatch.
On Masterpiece Mystery.
At least 3 gunshots and none of you heard anything.
Lies. House is full of lies.
Did you see who shot him?
Why don't you tell me? You're the detective. I trusted you. You're doing everything you can. Don't you judge me.
My job is to understand, not judge. You're like a jackal. Let others do the killing and wait for the scraps.
Negre on Masterpiece Mystery.
Sunday at 9 on on WOUB.
On Masterpiece.
This is how to live your life. I ain't planning on coming home.
Tell me where the gold is. That's all the power you've got left.
Well, I guess we'll find out soon enough, Mr. Boyce, what power I've got left.
I'm going away for a while.
There's a big difference between hiding and running away. Do not run away, Mr. Cooper.
The Gold on Masterpiece. Sunday at 10 on WOUB.
Make way for the Queen. The people love me. This is not a request.
Yes, Your Majesty.
For more than 70 years, WOUB Public Media has been the place where people in our region turn to learn how stories of the past ignite the imagination of the future. It's where information, entertainment, and education work together to inform, enlighten, and inspire generations. It's the place where the community gathers to hear and see our world in new and innovative ways. WOUB, the public media you trust that's worthy of your support. Thursday at 9 on WOUB.
The holidays are quickly approaching, and the National Retail Federation says consumers are planning to spend nearly $900 per person on average. This year's spending amount marks the second highest in the survey's history. In the NRF Annual Consumer Survey Report, it projects more than towards family gifts for family and friends, while $300 will be used for food, decor, and other seasonal items. The NRF projects that 55% will also shop online.
Winter is only a few weeks away, and some people are going to need extra warm coats and blankets. Weather experts predict intense winter storms for various areas, including the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and Northeast. Some cities are forecast to see more snow than usual. It's the opposite for Southeast and Gulf Coast, where temperatures could hit record highs with little to no rain for relief. Meanwhile, on the West Coast, drought conditions are expected to worsen, and wildfire threats will remain high. While the winter season officially starts on December 21st, the climatic winter season begins on December 1st.
Well, we might not be getting any winter weather this weekend, but we're certainly going to get some of those frosts, right?
Yeah, we're starting to see those cooler temperatures, especially as we head into those later nights. We're going to see those 30s, and a good reason why we're going to be seeing a lot of that snow heading into our area is because we did stay so warm so late into the season. Our Great Lakes are staying pretty warm, so you're going to see a lot of lake effect, especially where those normal places are, that Buffalo area. But for now, in Southeast Ohio, we're still going to be seeing some more fall-like temperatures out there. As I head over to the Weather Center for you guys, we're going to be seeing our local radar. It is clearing out for a large portion of Southeast Ohio. We do have a little bit of rain as we head a little bit more north. We're seeing on that I-70 line, you could have had a little sprinkles in there, but other than that, we are going to be clearing out. If anything, we're going to be staying clear for these next few days. Our temperatures right now still in those mid-50s, if anything low, high 40s for a lot of us, and we're seeing currently out there that wind is in those double digits. We're seeing gusts closer to that 20-mile-per-hour mark, and that is what is going to be giving us some pretty low temperatures going into tonight and giving us that freeze warning, like I said, that we're freeze watch that we are having later tonight. With that overnight low of 37 in combination with some pretty high wind, our wind chills are set up to be in that about 32-degree mark where we hit that freezing. So if you do have any outdoor plants that you need to bring inside, any kind of wet water irrigation outside from having that drought, you're going to want to make sure that is covered so that it doesn't freeze over, because we are going to be having a good few nights of some pretty frosty weather out there, and we're going to be seeing those temperatures really cool down, and that goes until Friday morning. So we did have that cold front that kind of pushed through that gave us first those warmer temperatures, especially that you saw on your Saturday, and now we're going to be setting up and having more fall-like temperatures really stick around. We are having this low pressure system as we head more north that is going to be giving some pretty intense rain, especially as you head closer to the Great Lakes. But here in Southeast Ohio, this high pressure is really just going to set up and give us just some clouds, and if anything, keep our temperatures very fall-like. we're going to be following this low pressure system as it kind of heads towards the New England area. You're going to see that yellow line. That's where it wants to go. So we are clear from that rain here in southeast Ohio, and we'll have that high pressure moving its way in. That was 12 hours from now, and as we head into this time tomorrow, that high pressure really setting up shop, and we're going to see our temperatures cool down just a little bit more, especially as we head into tomorrow with that temperature low 32, getting to that freezing mark with a little bit of wind still continuing. So still going to be under that freeze watch for your night tomorrow, and that high very similar to today with those mid 50s for you. Then as we head into 36 hours ahead, continuing to see this high pressure system moving into our area, kind of giving us a little bit of those clear skies before we do have another chance for some rain as we head into your early week next week. But for our weekend, I know that Saturday is that block party for us in Athens. So it will be on that chillier side with that low of 35. Going to really need to bundle up if you're putting on those costumes. Maybe put a long sleeve on underneath that, because we're going to be seeing those temperatures in those mid 50s until we hit Sunday. With that chance of rain, we will warm up just a little bit, but if anything, it will be feeling a lot like fall here once again in southeast Ohio.
Welcome to sports. I'm Jack Swizinski. A Franklin County judge allowed a temporary restraint against eligibility rules regarding endorsement deals for high school athletes on Monday. An Ohio high school receiver and five-star Ohio State commit Jameer Brown filed a lawsuit after his attorneys claimed he's missed out on over $100,000 in potential NIL deals. The ruling does not permanently legalize NIL deals in Ohio, but it does allow athletes to capitalize off of deals until the secondary hearing on December 15th later this year. The Brown family lawyer Luke Fedlam spoke on their goals and the importance of this result to Brown and all Ohio high school athletes.
We needed to ensure that OHSAA was enjoined or stopped from really having their prohibition on name, image, and likeness. And thankfully, we were successful. The Brown family really came at this wanting to change the rule and regulation prohibiting name, image, and likeness for high school student athletes, for all high school student athletes across the state.
After their big homecoming win against NIU last week, the Bobcats look to travel to face MAC opponent Eastern Michigan. EMU sits at 2-6 overall and 1-3 in conference play. The Bobcats relied heavily on their run game against the Huskies, which is a formula we should see again this week. The Eagles' defense allowed 255 rushing yards per game, so C.A. Bangura and Duncan Brune should see the ball most of the time. When asked about the utilization of the run game this week against Eastern Michigan, Bobcat head coach Brian Smith had this to say.
I think running the football is something that we try to really hang our hat on and be very efficient at and take pride in. So I think regardless of what a team's stats are going into the game, that is something that we will always try to emphasize.
And the preseason poll for MAC women's basketball was released yesterday as colleges gear up to head into the season starting on November 3rd. The Kent State Golden Flashes sit atop the conference with 5 first-place votes, followed by Toledo with 2, UMass and Ball State also each received 3 first-place votes, and the top 5 rounds out with Central Michigan. The rest of the top 10s rounded out by Bowling Green, Miami, Akron, Western Michigan, and Ohio. The Ohio Bobcats look to start out their season by traveling to Texas State to play the Bobcats. As the soccer season starts to wind down, all eyes are looking at the MAC tournament. Ohio currently sits at the 9th seed and needs a 6th seed placement to make a postseason appearance. The Bobcats' fate is almost entirely out of their hands at this point. They need to win out against Miami and UMass, then need BG to go at best 0-2-1 in their last games. The team needs EMU to score less than 3 points in their last 2 matches. If EMU finishes up their season 1-1, tiebreaker ends up falling to them. If all 5 of those scenarios happen, it'll pave the way for a Bobcat tournament appearance. And it's opening week in the NBA, and the Cleveland Cavaliers are back in action tonight to take on the New York Knicks for their season opener, as the Cavs will look to follow up their success from last year. The Cavs finished off last year 64-18, while the Knicks finished off 51-31. They stopped as the 1-3 in the Eastern Conference. The Cavs will look to start a lineup of Donovan Mitchell, Sam Merrill, DeAndre Hunter, Evan Mobley, and Jarrett Allen, while the Knicks will look for Brunson, Clarkson, Bridges, Anunoby, and Towns. The Cavs recently acquired DeAndre Hunter and Lonzo Ball in the offseason, and they should look to play this week. That's all we've got for sports. Make sure you go to woub.org for more content and to stay up to date on everything going around Southeast Ohio. Back to you, Charlie.
We'll be right back, but for now, be sure to follow us on Instagram and X to stay up to date in all the news in Southeast Ohio. And stay tuned for a brand new episode of The Wrap-Up this Saturday.
On Secrets of the Dead, a queen living under house arrest.
She's head of a government in exile. In captivity, she is still Mary, Queen of Scots.
A lost cache of her letters, written in code.
Cipher becomes so important to make sensitive information secret.
Now, follow the team of code breakers who are cracking the Queen's code on Secrets of the Dead.
Tonight at 10 on WOUB.
We tell stories.
To evolve. To explore.
To be inspired.
Close your eyes now. Jump into the future.
This is the stuff that dreams are made of.
Right now, the world is waiting for you.
Be the difference and be loud.
Oh, that's just the best thing ever.
The American Revolution changed the world.
It gave people a sense of hope that they have an opportunity for freedom.
We need to work together.
Oh my God, it's delicious!
Thanks for spending part of your evening with us.
By 1919, Chicago was probably considered the center of baseball.
You've got a team that's called the White Sox, fixing World Series games and defiling the entire sport.
Do I deserve this money enough to betray my city, my teammates, and the sport of baseball? Well, for these 8 players, the answer was a resounding yes.
The Black Sox Scandal on American Stories.
Friday at 10 on WOUB.
Interest in seasonal work is surging this year, but the number of holiday job openings likely won't meet that demand.
Karen Kafa is in Washington with a look at what job hunters need to know and what it says about the economy as a whole.
This is not unlike what we saw for teens and college students who struggled to find summer jobs earlier this year. And for job hunters, maybe even furloughed government workers who are seeking a holiday gig or two, economists say this season will be tough too.
Holiday job openings are out there, but so is stiff competition.
Competition is going to be much stiffer this year than it was a couple years ago because we have seen that slowdown in the number of job postings paired with an increase in the competition of more and more people.
Corey Staley, senior economist for Indeed Hiring Lab, says their data finds job searches surging ahead of the holiday season while employers pull back.
Temporary jobs in some ways are different than what we see in full-time and other jobs in the economy, but in other ways they're also very much the same, right? So we're seeing a lot of the broader trends in the labor market being reflected in this year's holiday hiring.
Outplacement firm Challenger Gray and Christmas forecasts seasonal retail hiring to fall to its lowest point since 2009 during the Great Recession. Nancy Vandenhouten, lead economist for Oxford Economics, says those employers may be taking cues from consumers.
A lot of consumers are feeling, pressured by high costs for a variety of things, whether it's things where tariffs have been applied or just everyday essentials, food, housing, electricity. So retailers seem to be taking a cautious approach.
But Staley says Indeed's real-time postings show retail isn't the only place to look for a holiday job.
We see some leisure and hospitality, but we also start seeing some interesting cases where even like accounting jobs start to pick up this time of year.
Some of the top seasonal postings are for beauty advisors, delivery drivers, food service workers, and truck drivers.
Economists say the seasonal hiring market in areas like retail and shipping could still ramp up if consumers start to give the right signals. Corey Staley of Indeed Hiring Lab says holiday hiring typically doesn't peak until November, though he advises job seekers not to wait. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Still ahead, if you've ever wanted to join the circus, now's your chance. The Ringling Brothers will be putting their shows online for all to see.
We'll be right back after the break, but for now, here's a look at what's coming up next on your public television station.
I love it.
We're on the precipice of a great discovery.
I love it.
Welcome! Whoa, Nellie!
Let's set this palace on fire.
I love it.
Welcome to the News Hour.
What does it mean politically?
Oh,
Fasten your seatbelt.
I love it.
I love it.
Delighted to hear it. You make a good team.
The Electron Solar Farm.
Pentagon official. With executive orders. Good evening. I'm Jeff Bennett.
And I'm Amna Nawaz.
I'm Margaret Hoover.
I'm Christiana Manpour in London.
Bring us up to speed there.
Israel is vowing serious consequences.
Did you get a commitment from President Trump?
We have to work on it.
When that story is told, it will be easier for us to see each other like the people who came before us.
Today, we live in a time when meaningful discourse is needed more than ever.
Is this just, at the end of the day, very smart politics?
It's, never compromise on the accuracy.
This is the story of modern war, how it's fought and how it's changing us.
If this is the way we're going to start breaking the ice, then let's do it.
The Mega Millions estimates about $680 million are up for grabs in its drawing Friday. That's the 9th largest jackpot in its history. The lottery says more than 400,000 tickets won some kind of prize Tuesday, but no one netted the big one. A 2023 jackpot holds the Mega Millions record for the largest ever at about $1.6 billion.
The greatest show on earth is trying to boost its popularity. Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey is putting more circus-based videos on social media. Officials with the 154-year-old brand say the goal is to get kids more interested in the circus, so they want to see it in person. 2 years ago, the show returned without live animals and more heavy usage of acrobatics. If you missed it back then, you're in luck. The circus is set to hit the road on a national tour in January, but will make a pit stop in Ohio this spring. Well, do you guys think it's working? I mean, are you getting any content from Ringling Brothers already?
I haven't seen anything. My feed is pretty much just videos I like, and that's about it. I haven't seen anything of it yet.
Well, yeah, Isabel, what are we going to see this weekend for weather?
Yeah, so for the weather, it is looking like tonight we're going to have that overnight low of 37 combined with that freeze watch that we are having. We're going to have some pretty high winds getting our temperatures into the near freezing. So we're going to have that freeze watch that goes until Friday morning. So if you are going to head outside, especially into that late night, early morning, make sure that you're bundling up. And even during the day, we are going to see those temperatures not climb too high. We're going to be in those high 50s until after we get some rain going into the weekend. So if you do have any of those outdoor plans, make sure you're bundling up.
Well, that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thank you so much for watching. For Isabel and Jack, I'm Parker.
And I'm Charlie Ehlenfeld. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. Have a great night.